Hello, everybody. We're going live for Tuesday Talks. Excuse me by my voice. It's a bit croaky. Today we're going live with Julie Paulston, and she is a owner and founder, CEO of Divine Phoenix Rising. Julie empowers women to rise from the ashes of their lives and reclaim their divine inner phoenix. We'll get Julie on here shortly and get to hear her journey. Hey, Julie.
Well, hello. How are you?
I am good. Thank you very much for joining Tuesday Talks and giving us your time as well. So I've done a short introduction for you already, but let us know who you are, what you do, and the biggest question of them all would be, why do you do it?
So, I always have the long answer to very short questions, so bear with me. Um, 2020 was pretty much the one thing that started everything for me. I used to be a corporate trainer at a Fortune 500 company. I got to travel and teach, and it was so much fun. I ended up in Pensacola, Florida, and things started getting a little wonky. You know, you get those messages from the universe. It's like, hey, so I think you need to be doing something else. And I'm like, no, I can't do anything else. I make too much money doing this. No, I can't ever leave corporate. But in the back of my mind, I knew that it was something that was calling me. And I just kept putting it in spiritual voicemail, going, no, just answer it later. And then July 11th was the start of what I call the trifecta of unfortunate events. July 11th, 2020, I broke my wrist in 3 places. August 27th, I lost my job and absolute panic. And then September 15th, Hurricane Sally came and destroyed my house. In fact, where I'm sitting now, at the end of the hurricane, there was 3 feet of water in my house. So I had to evacuate in the middle of the night. I don't recommend it to anyone. And after that happened, I kept trying to fight. I'm like, okay, I have to go get a job. I have to make money. I have to do this. But there was something telling me, Julie, just pause and listen to us for once. And I got shoved on my knees and was like, okay, I give up. I surrender. What do you want me to do? And I kept hearing life coach. I kept hearing inspiration because that's what I've done was motivate, educate, and inspire people for the last 10 years of my life. And so I thought, So everybody said, Julie, you've been through a hurricane. Why don't you have the lotus as your symbol rising up from the mud? And I was like, I don't really like mud. So I love the lotus. I love what it stands for, but I kind of have a little bit of a spicy personality, if you haven't noticed. So the phoenix kept popping up, and I was like, okay, all right. And then it just hit me, Divine Phoenix Rising, and I thought I primarily work with women because I think that women are the healers. We're the mothers, whether you have human children or not. We have that mother instinct and that we want to help to raise not only our own children, but the children and help people to rediscover who they were before the world told you who you should be. And so for me, it was a journey of not only rediscovering myself and rising from the ashes, which I have had to do multiple times in my life. I thought, you know what, this is time. And so I have a mission. My mission is to create a global movement that women can remember who they were before the world told them who they should be, and to rise from the ashes and reclaim that divine inner phoenix, reclaim that divinity, your voice, and that power that we innately have. So that was my long answer to a very short question.
No, it's actually a brilliant answer, and thank you very much for sharing your journey and the vulnerability of losing your house to Hurricane Sally and losing your job as well, all in the same year. So I think that if that's not a universe trying to wake you up and saying hello, I've been talking to you, hello, Uh, I don't know
Hello,
what. Yeah,
hello.
exactly. Right. We don't know what it is. So it's and I love that. And what I'm hearing in there as well is, you you were being surrounded by your comfort zones, right? So you were like, "Yep, this is comfortable."
Yep,
Even though the driving factor was the money, because I heard, you were earning beautiful in there. It's handsomely paid. So why do anything more, or why do anything else? I've been in that situation, and it's a it's something we just say to ourselves to stay in that comfortable area, or the routines we've created ourselves. We come home and have a nice, I don't know if you drink, so you have a nice glass of wine or something like that, sit down and things like that, right? So we create those nice habits whilst we are having to do those jobs and get that money that we're going to get from, right? But there's always something at the back of your mind which is telling you there's more to life. We should be doing something more.
hmm
And every time you do see somebody else doing something, you stop and you're like, this is something I would love to do, but you never do it, right? I'm sure
right.
it was the same with you, right? You must have seen someone or heard something amazing happen, and you're like, I would love to be in their shoes, or I love to be on that side, but this is actually very great, and I would love to be just here at the moment, right? And I think it was your time, and the universe was like, I think we need to shake up this tree, shake it hard. And
It's just like you either get like you hear the small voice, it's like, "Psst, hey, so I'm trying to get your attention." And then it's you think about disease as the same way. Like your body tells you, hey, so I don't really like that. And then we're like, no, it's fine. So we keep doing something, and then your body gets louder and louder. And pretty soon you get smacked by a billboard. And for me, I got knocked completely on my ass, just like, hey, so if you're not going to listen to us, we're going to force you to listen. And it just, I mean, there was no, hey, I think I'm just going to tippy toe out of my comfort zone. There was like this massive hand behind my back, and it was just like shoving me out, going, you are now out of your comfort zone, square smack dab in the panic zone, going, um, there's no manual for this. Can somebody tell me? And then you start looking around for other people to start telling you what to do, because I've been in a corporate environment for my whole life. They always told me what to do. And then all of a sudden now I'm like, oh, well, okay, so I'm an entrepreneur. I don't know what the hell I'm doing, but why not? Let's just do it. And so I made lots of interesting choices. I will not call them mistakes because I don't believe in failure. I think that failure is the worst word, because failure has such a connotation that if you don't do X, then you're a failure. If you don't do Y, then you're a failure. And there's so much societal shame that comes with that. And there's so much that we go, oh, well, I failed. So, I guess I'll just go back to doing whatever it is that I did before. And what we don't realize is sometimes, in fact, most of the time, you have to fall before you can learn to get back up again. And when you fall, you realize, okay, so that way didn't work. How could I do it differently so that I can get a different result? And so for me, people are like, oh, well, Julie, what about failure? I'll fail every day. I strive to do what other people call failure, because then I know I'm learning a lesson. I know that I'm going to come back stronger if I choose. Or like you said, I can just go ahead and retreat back into the safety of my comfort zone. And then what happens is you're stuck there, because every time you go out of your comfort zone, you hit panic. You're like, oh no, I don't like that. I don't like that. I don't want to do that anymore. So for me, it was just like, okay, well, I'm out here. And I've been very tempted to go back into the comfort zone. But even still, I know that when you have that calling, when you feel that, like there's something more, just follow it. It doesn't mean you have to go quit your job tomorrow, or you just have to move across the country, or, across the world. You just start doing baby steps, because that tends to stir up magic, and it starts to stir up ideas. And then you get that connection with the universe and like, oh, okay, now I can see that. And all of a sudden you start following the breadcrumbs and it leads you into amazing journey.
And I love that. I love that, and thank you for sharing this. The breadcrumb journey as well. In terms of obviously you were pushed into that journey. So you were like,
Yeah.
here's a ball, go in there. Go to the deep end and swim your way back up. But it's amazing to realize that a lot is happening around us instead of being just 9 to 5 or what you love doing at that moment, because we all love what we are doing. There's very few people hate their daily jobs or daytime jobs, let's say, because at one point you did enjoy it when you signed up for it. At one point you did wanted to do that because it was interesting, it was new, but with all that is, as you said, you are told what to do because the system is built by someone already, right? So you're fulfilling someone's dream, which is up in the corporate ladder somewhere, and they've built a system, and you're just one of those cogs in that system. And that's why if you look at corporate logos, there's always a cog somewhere in the bigger companies, because you're a part of that cog. You are making it function. So, and for you to function, all the other cogs tell you which way to go so that you can function.
Yeah.
Now, when you come into entrepreneurial part of the journey, you're the one creating that system, and cogs don't exist anymore. So
No.
it's like it's the engine's all yours. Go whichever direction you want, right? It's a free flow. So
it's like the first time you get behind the wheel of a car. It's like the very first time, like your parents aren't with you anymore, your driver's ed person isn't with you anymore, and you put the key in the engine, you start it, and you go to the end of your driveway, and you're like, I can go. Wait, so nobody's telling me which way to go. And it can be very hard, especially when you have been in a corporate mentality. And I want to share something with the listeners, is that I've been doing this for, let me see, almost 2 years. And I actually went and got another job. I went back to corporate life. I started a month ago. And at first I was so humiliated. Like I was like, oh, I failed in this coaching because I have to go get a job because this and that and the other thing. And I realized that out in the entrepreneurial world, unfortunately, there's shaming of, entrepreneurs. Like when you're just starting this journey, we think that all of a sudden you see all these coaches and you see all these people online that are like, oh, make $100,000 in 6 months. And oh, look what I did. I made this amount of money. And I think that sometimes we get really blinded by that, and we will follow that, and then we're sitting there and we can't pay our rent or our mortgage or our car payments or food or medication or all that, and we're like, well, I just need X amount of clients to pay this amount of money, and this is what's going to happen, then I'll be okay. And it's realizing that when you come into it with that mentality, what happens is the desperation comes through. It's like you go to, I hate to say it, but it's like going to a car lot. They've got to make their numbers, and so they're going to try and put you into whatever car. They're desperate. However, what I found is once I went back to work, all of a sudden I'm getting people messaging me, hey, are you still taking private clients? Hey, are you still doing anything? And I'm getting more clients now that relief of having to worry about, oh, how am I going to pay this or how am I going to pay that? That desperation is no longer there. So now I actually get to play and have fun with this instead of feeling like every morning getting up going, oh, where am I going to get a client from? Or, oh, where am I going to get, this from? Or, oh, what am I going to do? It gives some semblance of peace. And so if anybody else is listening to this and has just started your entrepreneurial journey, if you have to go get a job, there is no shame in that whatsoever. And in fact, it actually becomes a little bit more fun to work your business in the evenings, on the weekends, because now you have freedom. And now I get to interact with a whole bunch more people, and I'm doing exactly what I love to do, which is educate, motivate, and inspire. So I have the best of both worlds.
And that is so brilliant, and I agree 100%. There's the shaming part in the entrepreneurial world is out there, and it creates no better fear than what the corporate industry or the job world creates, right? Oh, scarcity.
Mhm.
So entrepreneurial world, unknowingly has created this scarcity of, oh, you shouldn't be going back. That means you're a failure, and so forth, right? I think what I noticed as well, myself, is that the only reason you would think that you're a failure is because if you did not have a proper goal or proper agenda as to why you became an entrepreneur, why are you doing what you're doing, and if in that journey you need to take a job or a part-time role, that's be it, because that can also finance your
Mhm.
entrepreneurial journey. Because becoming an entrepreneur is it's not easy. So there's lots of overhead expenses. There's lots of things that you never knew before existed, and now you have to run all of them. They all cost money, because nothing is free out there. Even if it's free, there is also some little bit of something to do with something. So there is always something out there, and then you realize, oh wow, I didn't expect any of this. So definitely not leave your day job to become entrepreneur straight away, but maybe plan and
Mhm.
do the journey. Unless obviously in your situation you didn't have that chance, you were like, yep, here we go, let's just do it.
Okay. Yeah, let's just do it. And
Yeah.
you bring up a really good point is that you see it so often in the coaching industry is like, oh, well, you need to spend so much money on coaches. And if you're not spending a high dollar amount on a coach, then you're not going to earn that amount of money. And that for new entrepreneurs is very, very scary because especially like in my position, like I had my 401k and I had some other savings, but once you start paying for a coach, then you see those start to dwindle. And then you're like,
Mm.
but wait, why isn't this, they're making $10,000 a month because that seems to be, for whatever reason, that's the magic number.
Yeah.
And then, to hit the $1 million, that's the other magic number. And it's okay it's like a dance. You're going to take 2 steps forward. You might take one back, then you'll take 4 steps forward. You might take two back. At the end of the day, you're still steps forward than where you started at. So it's something to celebrate every single time that you have a little win. You celebrate it and get super excited and grateful. That's when they start adding up, and that's when things start changing, because then you're out of that scarcity mindset of, oh my God, I don't even know how I'm going to pay my mortgage. If you don't think that people online or anybody that you meet, we're energetic beings, we feel that. We can't quite put our finger on it. You're like, oh, I really, really, really like Zishan. Oh, I really, really want to buy his thing, but there's just something that's holding me back. Most of the time, that's because you can feel that undercurrent of something's going on there. I don't know what it is, but I'm just going to go ahead and wait. I'll just do it later.
Yeah, no, exactly. 100% agree with that. So it's what I've also noticed, with your conversation here as well, is to also go with the flow, in terms, but not just let things happen, right? You need to know what that is. As you said, yeah, you will end up paying for another coach so that you can learn your own entrepreneurial journey, and those coaches are not cheap as well. So if it's a 10K coach, your savings are going down, and then you start worrying about, well, there's nothing coming in, and I'm just handing out, but nothing coming in. What do I do? And then you start chasing. Your coach might guide you how to get a client in a certain way, but that may have worked for them, or they might have a blanket approach for which everybody can use. Um, but then it's like, okay, we take that blanket approach, but it's not working. And then when the chase starts, have you ever seen anybody? I mean, I'm gonna go make it very simple. Like when we see those dog races, or cat and mouse chase. Have you ever seen anybody who's chasing something actually come better off at the end? They've
Yeah.
never had that. They never had that win at the end because they were chasing it. So when you're chasing it, you're not looking at, your eyes not on the target properly. You're just chasing it so that you want it. And when you're chasing it,
Yeah.
as you said, the underlying feeling that the client was having, they were feeling it that you were chasing it. So I'm like, yeah,
Yep.
yeah, you don't want to, I'll do it later. And in that later, they realize that this person is, is desperate for a client, will say yes to anything at the moment. And that's
Yep.
what it is, right?
Yep. And when you're chasing, like I tell people, have you ever seen a little kid that maybe has something in their mouth that they're not supposed to have? And you don't focus on anything else but catching that child. And they're not going to get caught. It's like a dog. A dog takes your favorite shoe. It is going to run. And the other thing is that if you think about chasing your dream, you're never going to get your dream because you're always going to be chasing it. However, if you look at it as, oh my gosh, what is one thing that I can do today? Like I always think about what future Julie looks like. If I was exactly where I wanted to be in my life, had everything that I wanted, what would I look like? Who would I be hanging out with? What kind of conversations would I be having? I do the whole thing. What would I be driving? Where would I be living? And then so if something comes into my experience, I can go, okay, Julie now wants to rip their head off and just, do whatever. But then I think, okay, well, what would 8-figure Julie do? Okay, so she probably would ask some questions. She would probably not even deal with this issue or this situation. And so that when I can look at it from higher self perspective, then I don't get caught up in much of the, oh, I have to do this and chase, chase, chase. Then I get to lean back. And leaning back does not mean laying down. Leaning back just simply means to lean back, take a breath, and allow what you're chasing to turn and see, oh, wait, she's not chasing me anymore. And you think about a dog, you quit chasing it, and you're like, whatever, you can have the stick. And you turn around, you walk off, the dog starts to chase you. And the dog starts to come after you. So when you give up the energy of, oh, I got to get that, I got to get that, I got to get that, all of a sudden it turns around and shows up in your experience. And you're like, oh, see, if you would have just quit chasing it, it will come to you. It's the law of the universe. We don't make these things up. It is what it is. So it's a really good point.
And I love that, and thank you for sharing this. It's so amazing because I can resonate with this in terms of my own journey since very early age. I had problems like everybody else have. Growing up as a teenage, we rebel and so forth. But one thing was common in my thing was I never actually went out of my way for certain things that I would or could or should. The society was saying you need to step up and go this and that. Well, I was like, well, no, it will happen. If I want it, it will happen. I'm not in a rush to get it now. And that was
Right.
always my thing. It's like, okay, I want a big TV, for example, when the big screen started to come around. I'm like, yeah, I would like to have that. But I don't want it now, but I'll look at it. And in a month's time, I will have it just because an opportunity will come across or I'll get a bonus. I'm like, oh yeah, I can now spend this on the TV or some sort,
Exactly.
right? So I was more intentional with my things that I wanted to do in my life all the way to now. So if I want to do certain things, I don't just say, I want this now. I should just happen. It should just happen. And that's when you become in chase mode and that thing goes away from you. And if you just say, oh yeah, it'd be nice to have, and you start doing other things, that whatever it is just comes closer to you without you knowing it. And the universe provides you for it, even if you have any other beliefs, they will provide you for it. So, you don't get anything in life which you cannot handle by whoever you believe in. So
Exactly.
it's there. So if you think you are going through some challenges, obstacles are always in your way, it just means you are able to handle it, and you just need to step on that plate and take it on, and you're going to be on the next side, exactly like what you happened to you. You're just taking it on the chin and like, let's do it, and you're here now.
Right. And the funny thing is I just want to share something that I've learned, because I also am now, I'm certified as an NLP practitioner. So what that is neuro-linguistic programming. We have this thing that sits in our prefrontal cortex, and it's called the reticular activating system. And when we have a thought, like you were just saying, like I want, say, a big screen TV, and then you're like, oh, well, I never have enough money. What happens is when you have that thought, it gets placed into this reticular activating system, and it's all unconscious. And what happens is all of a sudden you get these blinders on, and your unconscious mind starts scanning your world to find things that are going to support the belief that you put in there, whether you want it to be true or not. So you can put in there, oh, I'm so broke, I never have any money. Well, your reticular activating system is now scanning like sonar, do. Okay, we got to go find things that support the belief that we don't have enough money. And you could have like a gazillion dollars sitting right next to it. But unfortunately, because your belief is that you don't have enough money, you will never see the gazillion dollars sitting right there because you've put that thought in your head. And so when we talk about powerful statements, I am are the two most powerful words in the world, because whatever you put after them is what's going to end up being your experience. And if you're listening to me and you're like, Julie, that's just a bunch of hooey voodoo bullshit. Oops, sorry, could I say that word? Sorry. I always forget. Okay, good. So, but you think about it, if you don't believe me, look at your life. Because if you're always broke, I guarantee you what you think about is when you go out to the mailbox, oh my God, I wonder what bills are going to be in there today. Oh, I wonder what's going to go wrong next. You know, if you can't lose weight, oh, I can never lose weight. But yet you are the gatekeeper to your house. The Girl Scout cookies don't have to come across the front doorstep. So be careful of what you're putting in that system. Instead, put something in that system of, oh my gosh, I cannot wait to have X. It's going to be so cool to have this. And then play the what if game. I do that in the shower all the time. What if, like, I opened my bank account, there was like $10,000 in there. Oh my gosh, what if I opened my bank account, there was $100,000 in there? What if I got this? Well, what if this happened? I would do this and do this and do this. And all of a sudden you start getting in this rampage in your head about how cool your life will be. And so now you've put that in here, and now it'll start scanning and start bringing you the people and the things that you need to create the systems and what you have to do to create your dreams and having them come true, and enjoying the journey on the way. Because like you said, we could rush through and be like, oh, well, I'll just go get a credit card and buy that 70-inch TV. Or lean back, say, that would be really cool. I wonder how the universe is going to bring that to me. This is going to be really cool. I'm super excited. And just allow the process to happen and enjoy the journey. I know it's cheesy. I know people say it all the time. Enjoy the journey. Well, if you're sitting in the mud, in the ashes, you're like, Julia, there is no enjoyment in this journey. I promise you, if you take a breath and just look at your day and find the one thing that went well. It doesn't even have to be this huge thing, but just find one little thing that went well for you, and then just focus on that and put all your energy on that. And you'll find that everything else kind of just falls into line for you.
No, I love that. I love that. And 100% agree. You know, it's all about just finding that, you know, as cheesy as it is to enjoy the journey, it is to look for that success that has happened in that day. Because there is always something or one thing that you would have done, which was something good. Whether that is you made yourself lunch or dinner or got yourself a tea, which is already, you know, it's already there. But which brings me to a question like, so how was that pivotal moment for you where you have to now become an entrepreneur, you know, switching from the employee mindset towards the entrepreneurial boss mindset, so be your own boss?
It sucked. Some people are like, oh, I'm diving into this, it's going to be amazing. I was like, somebody please tell me what to do. Because, you know, I'll be 55 in July. So I spent a good chunk of my life in that mindset of somebody's going to come along and tell me what to do. Well, nobody's coming along to save you. It's like Mel Robbins says, nobody's coming to save you. So for me, I had to pause and go, okay, so If I was running my company, what would I want to do? How would I want it to look? What are some of the things that I believe in? What are the things that I want to do? And when in most of my decisions in life now, in fact, 99.9% of my decisions, I learned this is if it's not a hell yes, then it's a nope, not even going to, not even. And yes, I know you have to do things that we don't like laundry and yard work and stuff like that. And you don't go, ooh, hell yeah, I want to go out and do yard work in 90% humidity. However, when it comes to your dreams and those things, like if you meet someone and you're like, why are you going to entertain that? Find the things that light you up, that bring you joy, that spark that, oh my gosh, hell yeah, I want that person in my life. And if you don't hit the hell yes with me, seduces, gotta go, bye. I don't even waste my time anymore. And that's with relationships, friendships, family, all of it. Even my family. If you don't fall in that bucket, I love you. Absolutely, I love you. I get to create my life. And if it doesn't fall within what you think it should be, that's okay. You have the right to your opinion. I just choose not to participate with it.
I love that. It's amazing. It just reminds me of something I heard somewhere else. You're the hero of your own movie. So it's your movie, it's your show basically, and everybody else is extra. So you can choose who to have, who not to have, and your movie can be as exciting as you want it. And, it could be the hell yes everywhere, and then you have chores that you need to be doing anyway because we all need to do them. Or if you're having a successful life, you can get other people to do the chores. You never have to do it. It's always open. It's always open to your interpretation of how you want it. And I love when earlier you touched upon to step back, lean back, and then see how universe is going to help us in getting those items. So touching back on the big screen TV, for example, I usually just go, I will see how it looks on this wall, and I can just picture it. And what I am doing is, without knowing, as you just mentioned, I was just putting it, whatever that word was, here. I was putting it here, and so my mind has now actually visualized it and seen it on that wall. So every time now I'm coming in and out of the house, passing that room, it sees the TV there. So now it's saying, well, you need to get it, and it brings up the opportunities, shows the people around me that are able to help me to get it, or the person, or whatever it is, the options are available, and it's there. And I still resonate with this also, that I, touch wood, it's not so far, has not had money problems for a very long time, only because I've surrendered. And I always say to myself, money comes and goes, and it's never mine. Money is never mine. It's always coming to me to go where it needs to go through me. So
yeah, your conduit.
So in that way, I'm not worried about it. If I don't have money tomorrow, that's fine. That's no problem. I'm gonna be still alive, and there is somebody will always be able to sustain me. So I'm like, there's always some money will always come from somewhere. That's no problem. And just there was a time I was getting scared. I'm like, oh no, I've got only 1 week worth and all that stuff. And then before we know it, there was like, yeah, here we are. There's some more. I'm like, oh wow.
When you stop worrying, I think that when we talk about money, it is such a huge trigger for people. Like, it is a monster trigger. People will say, well, Julie, that's great for you guys. You guys are entrepreneurs, and I have a 9-to-5 job, and my hourly is $10 an hour. This is what my paycheck is. I never get any more money than that. Well, you've just now effectively put that in. It's the reticular activating system, your RAS. You've now put that in there, that the only place that you can get money is from your job. So you've effectively said, God, universe, spirit, however you believe, the only way that I can get money is through my job. Don't you think something that is as magical and pervasive and beautiful and all of the things that we've been taught, if it's you have the ability to create, Why would you just say, nope, this is the only way that this can happen? Because you never know. You might, like for me going back to work, I actually have met people that are like, so what do you do? Oh, you do that? Oh, can you tell me more about that? Whereas if I hadn't gone back to work, I would have never met these people in this way. So it's a great way to not cut your nose off to spite your face. So you just allow the universe to play with you and play with it and say, okay, geez, I wonder how the universe is going to surprise and delight me today. I can't wait. I can't wait to see how today's going to, because you're right. Money is energy. And the more you try and hold on to it and grip it and hold on super, super tight, the more it's going to struggle to get free. And it's just about allowing it to just lean back, like, oh my gosh. And when you find a penny, I pick it up, I celebrate, I do like a money dance. I find $5 in my pocket, I'll do a money dance. Because the universe is like this big parent, right? And if you're a parent, you probably identify with this, or if you've ever bought somebody a gift, like say you've been asking for a cell phone, like your kid's been asking for a cell phone. And so all you can do is give them like a little old flip phone, but it's all you could do. You saved your money, you gave it to them, and they looked at it and they're like, oh, where's my iPhone 75, 90 super duper cool phone? Well, I don't want that. That's dumb. I don't want that. Would you ever want to give them something ever again? Probably not.
Nope.
However, it's like that little kid, if you get a chance, if you go to YouTube avocado boy, there's this little boy and his parents, they gave him, it was wrapped up and he opens it up and he's like, oh, an avocado, thanks. He was so excited about that. So when you get the small things, if you're super excited about it, the universe is like, oh, if you like this, let me give you some more.
Yeah, I can 100% resonate. Being a parent myself, I can 100% resonate with that. Yes,
Right.
I can. So it's there. And so, you know, when you started your entrepreneurial journey and everything, was there a certain routine, or some people like to call it ritual, that you had to take on, or you stumbled across, like something you now do without fail, or something you do first thing in the morning, evening? Is that something that you want to share?
Gratitude. Every Monday, without fail, I write out 100 things that I'm grateful for. And people will go, oh, Julie, that's a lot. You're right, it is. And there are some Mondays that if I feel like, oh, this is stupid, I'm not going to do it, I'm going to get as far as I can. But what's fun is when you start, if you usually about 25, 30, you're like, oh, this is way too much. And then pause and just start looking around like, oh my gosh, I'm so grateful that I get water, or I'm so grateful that I'm breathing. And they don't have to be big things. It can be, I'm grateful for the mailman because he brings me bills. I love getting bills. I'm kind of weird. Hear me out. Excuse me. The reason why I like getting bills is because it means that somebody out in the world trusts me that I'm going to pay them. Somebody out in the world has given me something, and I'm going to return the favor, and I'm going to pay it. When I pay my electricity bill, I'm not just paying my electricity bill. There's somebody there that's putting in the information, sending out the bills, reading my meter. So I'm helping the collective by paying my bills. I'm helping the collective to raise the vibration. So I don't look at like I have to pay my bills. I get to pay my bills. I get to go to work every day. And so for me, gratitude hands down has been the one thing that has gotten me through some of the worst days of like, you know what, screw this, I'm done. I don't want to do this anymore. I don't even want to coach anymore. I'm just gonna go get a job and forget this whole dream. It's just stupid and that's not for me. Being able to be grateful, and then at the end of the day checking in and going, okay, what is one thing that went really, really well today? Awesome. And then if I could improve on anything, not change it, but improve on something, what would I improve on? Awesome. And be careful of the thoughts, because the first thing we want to do is go, Oh, well, you failed at that. So yeah, you don't want to do that again. It's more like, so what could have I done better today? So that's the thing that I started is number one, gratitude, hands down. I don't care. Just even do 5 things. If you can't do 100, it's okay. Do 5. Do 5 in the morning and do 5 at night just before you go to bed. And it just starts that feeling of, okay, I'm all right. Today I'm okay.
I agree with that 100%, 100%. I mean, gratitude is something a lot of people don't do, and it gets with the current times is getting thrown about a lot of time, a lot of places. So it's kind of losing its meaning. But 100%, it is effective, and I will agree with that. And, I also say you don't have to actually write it on pen and paper. Because a lot of people were like, "Oh, I have to write." Like me, I there was a time I used to love writing, but as more technology is becoming available, I'm doing less and less. So you don't have to write it. I mean, there's lots of apps who help you
Yep.
type it in, speak it in, or if you're like me, I've got my secret YouTube channel just for me only, and I just quickly hold my YouTube app, and it just records everything for me in there, and
Yep.
I talk it how my day is, and just leave it there. And it quite
Yep.
helps also to reflect back when you're having a low moment or a day. Like how Facebook reminds you 10 years ago, today you did this, and you're like, oh, wow, really? And obviously YouTube won't, but you can, you've been recording, so,
Yep.
or writing, so you can just pick up that book or channel and go back onto that day, like today, 5 years ago, what did I do? And that will also
Yeah.
show you that how far you come, where you are now, to then
Yeah.
your list of gratitude will start increasing enormously by that. So if you talk about 100, maybe they'd be 200 by the end of that day.
Yeah.
So thank you very much
Exactly.
for sharing that. We should be wrapping up soon.
Perfect.
So thank you very much for coming on. What would you like to say as something to share as we wrap up?
So I have a podcast and it's called Be the Phoenix of Your Own Life. And I end every single live that I do on Facebook, Instagram, whatever I do, I always end the same way because I think it is extremely important for people to hear this. And what I tell people all the time is that you are enough. You were born enough. You're enough as you sit, and you will always be enough. You're not too tall, you're not too short, you're not too thin, you're not too fat, you're not too light, you're not too dark. You are perfection, magic, and divinity wrapped up in a human experience. And if you could only see the divine light that shines back from your eyes, I promise you would never doubt your greatness again.
Wow, that is so wonderful. Thank you very much for sharing those. Everybody can connect to you via your socials. Which ones would that be if you wanted to share them?
So on Instagram, it's Grateful for Life, but it's GR, the number 8, FUL, the number 4, Life. My name's Julie Paulston. You can find me on Facebook. I'm there. I'm even on the Tiki-Talkie. If you don't like cussing, then I'm probably not your girl. I love colorful language. It's very expressive. But yeah, so you can find me on all social media. I'm on Instagram, I'm on Facebook, I'm on TikTok. I think that's pretty much, I'm even on Snapchat, but I never use that. That's how I communicate with my kids. So there's that.
But yeah, wonderful, wonderful. So everybody who's listening to us this now live can connect and follow you now directly and reach out if you need. And if you found this inspirational, reach out to Julie. You're able to help one-to-one and group sessions as well, I guess.
Yep.
So reach out. And anybody who is listening to this on a podcast, this was 22nd of March when this episode was made. So I'm sure you are still helping everybody same way as you are now.
Yes.
And if you found anybody who's now listening or watching this, if you found this episode inspirational, that there was a light bulb moment for anything that you heard here, all I would say is that it's your responsibility now to share it with somebody else. We shouldn't keep the inspirations with us. We should not hold on to anything. You've been shown this episode came into your way to be shared to somebody else. So, because we do not know who has got up this morning or gone to bed thinking of a better day. So, and if you found it inspirational, and just tag them or share it with them, they might find it inspirational and take the step by just thanking you and doing what they're supposed to be doing. You know, if they are feeling that they shouldn't be doing something and they're like, yep, this episode has made me do it. So please share this with as many as people as you can if you found it inspiring. Thank you very much, Julie, as well, for your time, and everybody else. We will
Thank
see
you.
you next Tuesday.
Thank you.
Okay, bye bye.